Our chosen ones, what if I told you that your whole world is about to flip on its head and it's not just by accident? Have you ever felt like you're standing alone in the middle of a spiritual battlefield, taking one hit after another, and you just want to throw in the towel? Maybe you've been feeling unseen, unheard, and misunderstood, like your good intentions are constantly being twisted and used against you. It's that feeling where you're doing your best to walk in your purpose, but every time you take a step forward, it feels like something or someone is pushing you 2 steps back. It's draining, isn't it? That feeling of being a punching bag for the spiritual realm, while the people around you seem to get a free pass. I remember a time when I was in that exact spot. I was pouring my heart and soul into my work, trying to spread light and positivity. But it felt like every single person I encountered had a negative word to say. I was getting so many false accusations thrown my way that I started to question if I was even a good person anymore. My confidence was shot. I'd walk into a room and feel the judgment before anyone even spoke. It was like I was wearing a sign that said, "Come at me, bro." One day I was so overwhelmed I just broke down. I cried out to God, "Why me? Why do I have to be the one always fighting these battles?" It felt like a lonely, endless war. But here's the thing. I didn't realize that while I was feeling alone, I was actually surrounded by an army. And not just any army, an army of angels led by a fierce protective force. I'm here to tell you something powerful today, chosen ones. The very battles you've been fighting, they were not for nothing. They were a sign that you are so important, so filled with a divine purpose that the enemy has had to throw everything it's got at you. But guess what? That season of being the spiritual punching bag is officially over. The script has been flipped. The tide is turning. And I'm not just talking about a little ripple in the pond. I'm talking about a tidal wave of divine justice coming your way. Somebody, and I mean somebody, is fiercely defending you now. And you need to watch this video to the very end to understand who this powerful defender is and what this shift means for your life, because you're about to witness something miraculous. Your spiritual journey is about to get a major upgrade, and it's time for you to stay awake and aware of it. Point 1. The divine reversal, when the tide turns. You've been in a season where everything felt like it was falling apart. Betrayal after betrayal, friends turning into enemies, opportunities slipping through your fingers like sand, and the constant hum of rumors circling your name like vultures. It felt personal. It was personal. Not because you did something wrong, but because you started doing something right. You stepped into your identity. You dared to evolve. And when a chosen one starts growing, the environment around them gets shaky. Why? Because your light exposes the shadows that others have been hiding in. Let's be clear, you weren't crazy. You weren't being overly sensitive. The attacks were real. Psychologists even have a term for it, relational aggression. That's when people use social manipulation, gossip, exclusion, sabotage to target someone they feel threatened by. You became the target because you were standing in your truth. You weren't conforming. You weren't shrinking. And most of all, you weren't playing small to make others feel big. That confidence, it scared them. That peace, it confused them. That destiny, it made them jealous. And here's where it gets deep. From a spiritual lens, this wasn't just petty human drama. This was warfare. Because you're not just anybody, you're a chosen one. And when you have divine favor on your life, attacks don't come because you're weak. They come because you're dangerous to the systems and lies others are trying to protect. Your very presence disrupted their comfort. Your growth made their stagnation unbearable. Your integrity made their manipulation obvious, and just by existing boldly, you exposed them. But remember this, isolation is often a form of divine insulation. When the drama hit and people started falling away, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God was removing access, not as punishment, but as protection. See, when you're about to level up, not everyone is qualified to come with you. The workplace that let you go, that was your spiritual exit slip. That friend who started acting shady, that was divine clarity. That relationship that crumbled, that was a door closing so your soulmate could knock. The Bible says in Genesis 50:20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." This verse isn't just poetic, it's a universal truth. What they meant for evil, God is flipping for your good. Those rumors, they're now part of your testimony. Those heartbreaks, they're the foundation of your wisdom. That loneliness, it built the intimacy between you and God that no one can touch. Now the reversal is happening, slowly at first, then all at once. People who once ignored you are watching from the sidelines. Those who mocked you are mimicking you. They called you dramatic. Now they copy your authenticity. They said you were too intense. Now they crave your energy. The script has flipped, and the glow-up is divine, and the best part, you didn't force it. You didn't seek revenge. You just kept healing, kept growing, keep obeying your higher calling. And now the very things meant to destroy you are the bricks in the palace God is building for your next chapter. This isn't just karma, it's divine justice. The universe balances itself, but when you're chosen, that balance comes with acceleration. You're not just bouncing back, you're being catapulted. What looked like a breakdown was actually a setup for a breakthrough. What looked like a loss was really God making room. And now you're walking proof that the pain had a purpose. You're not just surviving, you're thriving with receipts. So chosen one, stand tall. The attacks didn't break you, they revealed you, and now you're stepping into everything they said you couldn't be and more. Point 2, a fierce defender has been activated. Now let's get to the juicy part, the real tea behind what's happening in the spiritual realm on your behalf. Chosen one, when we talk about somebody standing up for you, let's be crystal clear. This isn't your best friend, your mama, or even that one loyal cousin who always claps back for you on Facebook. No, we're talking about a divine celestial powerhouse assigned by God himself. Think of it like this. You've got a spiritual defense attorney who never loses a case, a holy bouncer who doesn't play about you, and a guardian who walks in realms unseen, shutting down every plot before it even hits the surface. This is more than angel wings and soft harps. This is divine warfare. You've been walking around with spiritual protection your whole life. But lately, that protection's been upgraded. What used to be a gentle nudge to avoid danger has now become a full-blown firewall of heaven. You were surviving before, but now you're untouchable because your defender isn't playing games anymore. Picture this, a courtroom in the spiritual realm. Demonic forces, haters, liars, and energy leeches have been trying to build a case against you. They've submitted evidence, whispered accusations, and tried to manipulate your narrative in the minds of others. But just when they thought they were about to take you down, your advocate stood up and said, "Not this one's mine." Biblically, this isn't fantasy, it's fact. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." That's not just poetic language, it's a divine legal clause written over your life. The "you shall condemn" part, that's your defender at work, flipping every lie, reversing every curse, and silencing every whisper that was never supposed to reach your ears in the first place. You're not imagining it. Something has shifted, and you've probably already seen the signs. People who were once bold in talking trash about you are suddenly quiet. Some are even pretending like they never had a problem with you. You might be wondering if they forgot how they treated you, or if maybe they had a change of heart. No. Chosen one. They didn't forget. They felt the heat. They felt the spiritual backlash of coming for someone God placed his hand on. Because here's the truth. When someone plots against a chosen one, they're not fighting you. They're fighting the one who chose you. And your divine defender doesn't just protect your physical body. Now, this goes deeper. They're guarding your peace, your mind, your reputation, and your calling. That voice you hear inside you telling you to stay calm while chaos swirls, that's them. That moment you decided not to clap back and somehow your silence hurt them more than words ever could, that's them. They are interceding in real time, shielding you from drama and setting off spiritual alarms before danger even gets close. The most mind-blowing part? The people who attacked you thought you were defenseless because you didn't retaliate. They thought your silence meant weakness, but really it was divine strategy. You weren't alone, you were being backed. And now they're realizing they didn't just come for you, they stepped on holy ground. That sudden karma, that shift in their energy, that uneasiness they feel around you now, that's the defender standing in the gap, making it very clear you are not to be touched. So don't be surprised when things around you start aligning without you lifting a finger. Don't be shocked when tables turn, truths surface, and peace wraps around you like a cloak. This isn't luck, it's law, spiritual law. The kingdom of heaven has officially issued a cease and desist on your behalf. And that somebody that powerful presence guarding your path, they've been activated. And baby, they're not here to negotiate, they're here to defend. Point 3. Your quiet season of preparation is over. Chosen one. Let's talk about that silent season you've been walking through. The one where you felt like nobody noticed you, like your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling, like the more you grew, the more isolated you became. It's almost like the world forgot your name. But hear this loud and clear. That wasn't abandonment. That was alignment. That wasn't punishment. That was preparation. Think of it like this. You were in spiritual boot camp. Not the glamorous, Instagram-worthy kind where you glow in the sun with sage in one hand and a vision board in the other. No, this was gritty. This was the sit in the dark with your thoughts and face yourself kind of work. And if we're being real, boot camp sucks. It's full of discipline, discomfort, and the kind of silence that makes your doubts echo. But it's also where warriors are made. Psychologically speaking, isolation often triggers what's called shadow work, the inner process of confronting your unconscious wounds, insecurities, and false beliefs. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That quiet season was about making the unconscious conscious. You were being trained, not punished. You were doing reps in the spirit, stretching your patience, your obedience, and your trust. And while the world saw nothing, heaven was documenting everything. It might have felt like you were losing friends, time, status, momentum. But in reality, you were shedding. Think of a snake. Before it levels up, it has to shed old skin. That's messy, that's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. The isolation helped you remove the distractions, the fake connections, and the emotional noise. It stripped away everything that couldn't walk with you into the next chapter. See, most people want the spotlight, but they haven't survived the silence. You did. You sat in the waiting room with no ETA. You praised when you had no proof. That kind of quiet resilience is rare. And now the spiritual stage lights are about to flip on. You didn't go through all that pain for a participation trophy. No, you're stepping into manifestation season. It's almost poetic. You were hidden like a seed, and just like a seed has to break open underground before it ever sees the sun, you had to go through that pressure before the growth could happen. Studies show that seeds only germinate when the conditions are just right, that darkness wasn't a curse, it was the right condition. Now get this. When a rocket launches, it makes the most noise when it's leaving the ground. That's where you are now. The energy is shifting. Doors that once slammed shut are about to swing open. The same people who ghosted you are about to repost you. That dream you thought was too big, you're about to live in it. But let this be clear, chosen one. This next season is not just for show. You're being elevated because you were prepared in private. This is a divine unveiling. And when you walk onto that stage, you won't be performing. You'll be revealing the character, the strength, and the anointing that was built in the quiet. So don't resent the silence. Don't question the loneliness. It was the gym for your soul. Now that the curtain is rising, you're not just ready, you're destined. Walk into this next season knowing you're not just showing up, you're showing out, and you're going to shine so bright your enemies will need sunglasses just to watch. Point 4. The tables are turning in your favor. Have you ever looked around and felt like life was picking on you, like you were living under a storm cloud while everyone else basked in sunlight? You pushed through, kept going, and kept believing, even when the results made no sense. You knocked on doors that didn't open, prayed prayers that seemed to echo back in silence, and put your heart into things that gave you nothing in return. It's easy to think that maybe you were cursed or forgotten, that all your effort was meaningless. But what if I told you that the silence wasn't abandonment? It was calibration. The quiet wasn't the end. It was preparation. You, chosen one, were never out of alignment. You were being refined, hidden in plain sight for a divine reason, because some of the greatest breakthroughs in life are disguised as breakdowns. And just when it feels like everything is falling apart, that's often when everything is finally falling into place. The road you've walked wasn't random. Those betrayals, those seasons of lack, those nights spent crying into a pillow while pretending to be fine during the day, they were not in vain. There's a spiritual law at work older than any man-made system, more reliable than the stock market or the weather forecast. It's called sowing and reaping. And whether you call it karma, the boomerang effect, or divine justice, the principle is the same. Energy doesn't die, it circles back. Every kind word you gave when you had none left to give, every act of loyalty in a world that celebrates betrayal, every time you loved when it was easier to hate, those weren't wasted, they were investments. And the interest is about to hit your account. Science teaches us Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. In the same way, the spiritual realm mirrors this law. It's what some call the cosmic boomerang effect. The kindness you sowed in silence, it's coming back in ways that will echo through your life. The times you lifted others even when you were on your knees. They're forming a return wave of grace that's going to lift you higher than you ever imagined. And no, this isn't fairy dust, it's not blind optimism. This is divine timing meeting undeniable effort. The world may not have applauded you, but the heavens were taking notes. And the notes are turning into instructions. Instructions for doors to open, for blessings to flow, and for your name to be mentioned in rooms you've never even entered. You may not realize it, but your resilience has created a ripple effect. While others chose shortcuts, you took the long, narrow road. While some built castles on lies, you chose to build your house on truth, even if it took longer. And now, the universe is about to reward you publicly for what you endured privately. You're not just getting blessed because you asked, you're getting blessed because you aligned. You did the work when no one was watching. You stayed humble when pride could have been easier. You stayed loyal when bitterness was the more seductive choice. And now, everything is about to shift. Not by accident, but by divine design. Imagine walking into a season where everything that once felt heavy now feels light. Where you no longer have to chase because what's meant for you begins chasing you. That's the energy you're stepping into. Opportunities will begin to unfold without the struggle. Peace will replace chaos. The relationships you once begged to stay will be replaced by people who choose you without conditions. And even your enemies, the ones who scoffed at your dreams and laughed at your delays, will have front row seats to your elevation, not because you're vengeful, but because your rise is God's response. And this next season, it won't be subtle. This won't be a quiet nudge of hope. This will be a crashing wave of favor. Promotions, reconnections, healing, creativity, areas of your life that looked like wastelands will suddenly bloom. Studies in quantum physics suggest that focused energy has the power to influence outcomes. Spiritually speaking, your focused faith has reshaped the path ahead. You've created a gravitational pull of blessing simply by staying true to yourself. You've shifted your vibration, aligned your heart, and raised your spiritual frequency. And now everything attached to that frequency, joy, abundance, love, and peace, is gravitating toward you. So don't be surprised when the phone rings and it's the opportunity you gave up on. Don't be shocked when someone you never met feels compelled to open a door for you. And definitely don't doubt it when your whole atmosphere changes for the better. It's not a fluke. It's a divine callback. A cosmic reminder that everything you went through had a purpose. That your suffering wasn't just suffering, it was sacred training. And now that the test is over, the results are in. You passed with flying colors, and what's next? Overflow, not just financial, but emotional, relational, and spiritual abundance. Chosen one, this is your comeback story. And the plot twist is even better than you hoped. The silence has ended, the heavens are clapping, and life is about to give you back everything it once withheld, plus interest. This is your season. Walk into it boldly. Not because you're lucky, but because you're ready. Point 5. You're stepping into your power. Chosen one, let's be real. You've been playing it safe, playing it quiet, playing it small, and I get it. The world can be a loud, chaotic, messy place, and sometimes it feels easier to just dim your light and blend in. But here's the truth they never wanted you to figure out. You've been operating with spiritual firepower the size of a sun, and only lighting birthday candles. You've been walking around with divine software downloaded straight from source, but you haven't even tapped into the full operating system yet. Why? Because you were conditioned to forget just how powerful you are. But that ends now. This shift you're feeling, that growing discomfort with settling, that deep soul itch like something within you is ready to erupt. That's not a coincidence, that's not anxiety, that's a divine reversal. It's your spiritual wake-up call, and it's loud for a reason, because the universe is tired of whispering. You were never built to be average, and this entire time you've been treating your soul like it was on a trial version, instead of in full access mode. Let's make this clear. You are not just a passive player in this reality, you are a co-creator. Science has already hinted at this. Studies in quantum mechanics, particularly in the realm of the observer effect, show us that consciousness influences reality. That's not just metaphysical fluff, that's lab-tested truth. When you focus your energy, when you set intention, you don't just wish, you shape, you form, you bend reality to your alignment. You've always had this power, chosen one. You were born with it. But society trained you to suppress it, to fear it, to hide it behind politeness, behind conformity, behind trauma. And here's what's wild. As soon as you begin reclaiming this power, the world starts acting weird. People treat you differently. Some start distancing themselves, others start gossiping. Why? Because your confidence, your clarity, and your spiritual sharpness, they expose everything false around you. When truth walks in the room, lies start panicking. And you, dear chosen one, are truth in motion. You're the walking, breathing mirror people didn't ask for, but now they can't avoid. Your energy makes their facades crack, not because you attack, but because your very existence challenges everything they've built their identity on. You start to see clearer too, your intuition razor sharp. You begin noticing who's speaking from ego and who's anchored in spirit. You can tell when someone's words don't match their energy. You can feel deception in a handshake and hear jealousy laced in a compliment. And it's not paranoia, it's discernment. That's your spiritual Wi-Fi strengthening. That's your divine antennas getting tuned into higher frequencies. You're not just catching vibes, you're decoding the source. And this confidence you're feeling lately, that isn't arrogance, that's alignment. When you no longer need to ask for permission to be yourself, that's when the real power begins. You stop shrinking to fit in. You stop dumbing down your light. You stop apologizing for taking up space. And when you do that, the world starts adjusting around you, not the other way around. You were never meant to be lukewarm. You are fire, wind and soul woven into form. You are a disruptor of deception, a builder of new paradigms. Your thoughts carry weight, your voice carries purpose, your walk carries divine authority. And when you finally own that, that's when the game changes. So no more playing small, chosen one. You've passed the level where shrinking was necessary for survival. Now you're in the realm of impact, of transformation, of walking boldly in your calling. Your spiritual gifts will only grow stronger from here, and your presence will speak louder than your words ever could. This is your activation. Don't look back. Point 6. The envy of your enemies will become your armor. Let's talk about the haters for a moment, not just to rant about them, but to understand what their existence actually reveals about you, the chosen one. These critics in the cheap seats, the gossipers behind closed doors, and the keyboard warriors lurking in shadows, they never truly had an issue with you. No, the real problem is what you represent. You stand as a living mirror reflecting everything they've buried. Their unfulfilled dreams, untapped potential, and ignored callings. Your progress, your light, your refusal to conform, these things awaken something uncomfortable in them. It reminds them of who they could have been if they had dared to rise, dared to believe, and dared to break free. And that discomfort morphs into hate. But here's the twist. Their hate is actually a secret form of validation. Psychologists call this phenomenon upward social comparison. It happens when someone feels threatened by another person who appears to be doing better, living freer, or standing taller. When someone engages in upward comparison, they aren't hating you from a place of superiority. They're doing it from a place of self-doubt. You intimidate them, not because you've harmed them, but because your existence disrupts their comfort zone. And in a strange, backhanded way, that's admiration in disguise. People don't usually envy those beneath them. They don't lose sleep over people they deem irrelevant. They fixate on those whose very presence challenges the status quo. You're not their enemy, you're their trigger, and every jab, every rumor, and every attempt to discredit you is just more proof of your impact. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Hate doesn't block your path. It. Sociologists have long studied how resistance and criticism are often byproducts of transformation. The moment you start breaking cycles, whether generational, social, or spiritual, you become a target. Why? Because change is threatening to those who benefit from stagnation. But when you're chosen, your destiny isn't decided by public opinion, it's designed by divine intention. So while they're busy throwing shade, you're casting light. Every insult becomes fuel. Every slight becomes a spark. You're leveling up while they're looping in the same broken patterns, using the same worn-out strategies to drag you down to their frequency. But they can't, because you've outgrown the environment where they feel most powerful. Spiritually speaking, this is warfare, and in warfare, resistance is a sign you're making progress. The Bible says in Isaiah 54:17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper," and that includes the sharp-edged tongues of haters. In fact, their weapons often become your training ground. Just like muscles grow by pushing against resistance, your character, resilience, and purpose are shaped every time someone doubts you and you keep going anyway. Every lie told about you, a rep, every rejection, a push-up, every betrayal, another mile on the path to destiny. What they meant to harm you with ends up sharpening your spiritual armor. This response to unwanted resistance also ties into a psychological principle known as reactance. This occurs when someone feels their freedom or worldview is threatened, and they lash out in response. Sound familiar? Your peace threatens their chaos. Your confidence unsettles their insecurity. Your authenticity reveals the shallowness of their performance. You don't just succeed, you expose. And exposure is terrifying for those hiding behind masks. You're not trying to make enemies, but your mere presence as a chosen one disrupts every false narrative they've ever told themselves. It's not your fault, it's your frequency. But here's the beauty in all this chaos. You don't need to fight back, not in the way they expect. Your growth, your elevation, your consistency, these become your answers. Let the noise rise, let the critics talk. When your life becomes the loudest statement in the room, you'll no longer need to defend yourself with words. And the people meant for you, your tribe, your supporters, your divine connections, they'll see you clearly through the static. As for the rest, let them talk. Because people don't throw stones at things that don't shine. They don't waste energy on those who don't matter. And they certainly don't boo nobodies. So yes, they're watching, some with admiration they won't admit, some with envy they don't understand. But all of them, whether they love you, hate you, or secretly want to be you, are simply confirming what you already know. You're on the right path, the path less traveled, the path of the chosen one. And while they stay busy watching, you'll stay busy rising. And that's exactly how it should be. Point 7, the scales of justice are finally tipping. Chosen ones, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That gut-wrenching moment when you swallowed your pride, smiled through the pain, and took the high road while someone dragged your name through the mud. You were the peacemaker, the forgiver, the silent strength. You gave people the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt was louder than the facts. You kept showing love, even when their actions screamed betrayal. It hurt, didn't it? Deep down, it felt like the universe was blindfolded, letting injustice run wild while you carried burdens that weren't even yours. But here's where everything shifts. What once looked like silence was actually surveillance. The universe saw it all. You weren't being overlooked, you were being observed. The divine realm was keeping receipts, and trust me, the ledger is now being balanced. This new season isn't about vengeance. No, chosen one, it's deeper than that. This is about divine order, cosmic justice, spiritual accountability. And best of all, you don't have to raise your voice, throw shade, or clap back. The divine court is in session, and guess what? You're no longer the one being judged, you're being vindicated. Psychologically, this is called karmic projection. When you operate from truth, grace, and patience, you activate something called resonant frequency, a concept in metaphysics where your energy creates ripple effects far beyond what the eye can see. Every time you chose peace over pettiness, that energy echoed into realms you couldn't see. But now, the echo is returning as justice. People who took your kindness for weakness are suddenly facing breakdowns, blockages, and losses. Not because you cursed them, because their own energy is bouncing back. That's not revenge, that's resonance. And let's be real. Many of them thought they got away with it. They lied about you, manipulated situations, made you out to be the villain while smiling in public, but their masks are slipping now. Why? Because the spiritual realm is about balance, not speed. What takes time in the natural happens instantly in the supernatural. And in this divine court, you don't need a lawyer. Your life is the evidence. Your tears, your prayers, your patience, they're the testimony. The verdict, favor, breakthrough, redemption. So walk boldly, chosen one, don't look back. You've been tried in the fire and didn't burn. Now you rise, not just cleansed, but crowned. Justice isn't coming, it's here. So what does this all mean for you right now? It means it's time to stay awake, stay aware, and start expecting miracles. Keep your heart open, your mind clear, and your spirit ready. Because everything that you've been praying for, everything you've been working towards is about to show up in a way that will make you gasp. The script has been rewritten, the defender has been activated, and the stage is set for your divine comeback. Don't doubt it, don't question it, just believe it, embrace it, and get ready to walk into the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. This is your time, chosen one. It's time to shine.